Hello everyone, welcome to our channel LawLust. Today we will be going to conclude the session of 500 MCQ for RRB SW exam. So these are the important questions for the exam, last 100 questions. So make sure you have to concentrate on it. And today's session we will be only going to read the question, and after a short pause we will be declare the answer. So without wasting any time, let's move on to the question. So here the question number 401, under the Code of Wages 2019, the expression wages specifically excludes certain components, but if the excluded components exceed the prescribed statutory limit, the excess amount shall be treated as wages. Move on to the next question, question number 402. So a registered trade union gives notice of strike in public utility service. During the notice period, the employer declares a lockout. Which statement is legally correct under the Industrial Relation Code 2020? So here the correct answer is option number B. The lockout is prohibited during the prescribed notice period except as permitted under law. So the lockout is prohibited. So move on to the next question, question number 403. Under the Code on Social Security 2020, the gratuity for a fixed term employees become payable. So here the correct answer is option number B. Even if the employee has not completed 5 years, provided the fixed term contract is completed as prescribed. After the completion of fixed term, he will be going to get the gratuity benefits. Okay, move on to the next question. Question number 404. Which principle is primarily followed while determining whether an accident arose out of and in the course of employment? So here the correct answer is doctrine of notional extension. Move on to the next question, question number 405. Under the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code 2020, the principal responsibility for ensuring a safe workplace rests upon. So here the correct answer is employer. Move on to the next question, question number 406. Which authority is empowered to hear appeal against the decision of Public Information Officer under RTI Act 2005 at the first appellate stage? So here the correct answer will be first appellate authority. Move on to the next question, question number 407. A welfare officer discovers that several contract workers are denied statutory welfare facility. His first professional obligation is to recommend immediate compliance with statutory obligations. So move on to the next question, question number 408. Which labor code has subsumed the Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1946? So here the correct answer is Industrial Relation Code 2020. Move on to the next question, question number 409. A women employee files a complaint for sexual harassment. Which principle should guide the welfare officer before the inquiry concludes? So here the correct answer is confidentiality and procedural fairness. Move on to the next question, question number 410. Under the RTI Act, information affecting the life or liberty of a person shall ordinarily be supplied within 48 hours. So move on to the next question, question number 411. Which of the following is not ordinarily a characteristic of collective bargaining? So here the correct answer is unilateral decision making. Move on to the next question, question number 412. Under the Code on Wages 2019, minimum wages are intended primarily to. So here the correct answer is to prevent exploitation through payment below the statutory floor. Move on to the next question, question number 413. Which method of dispute settlement involves a neutral third party assisting negotiations without imposing a decision? So here the correct answer is conciliation. Move on to the next question, question number 414. A welfare officer notices repeated fatigue related accidents during night shifts. The most appropriate first recommendation is, the correct answer is conduct a risk assessment and review shift scheduling. Move on to the next question, question number 415. Under the Code on Social Security 2020, social security schemes are intended primarily for. So here the correct answer is for workers covered under applicable provisions. Move on to the next question. Question number 416. Which constitutional provision directs the state to secure just and human condition of work and maternity relief? So here the correct answer is Article 42. Move on to the next question. Question number 417. Which of the following best describes the industrial democracy? So here the correct answer is employee participating in managerial decision making. So move on to the next question. Question number 418. A recognized trade union negotiates wages on behalf of workers. This process is known as collective bargaining. So move on to the next question. Question number 419. Under the RTI Act, which information is generally exempt from disclosure unless a larger public interest justifies the disclosure? So here the correct answer is option number A, cabinet papers before the decision is complete. Move on to the next question. Question number 420. Which labor code consolidates provision relating to employees, provident fund, employees, state insurance, maternity benefit and gratuity? So here the correct answer is Code on Social Security. So move on to the next question. Question number 421. Which of the following is the strongest indicator of an effective grievance redressal mechanism? So here the correct answer is timely and impartial disposal. So move on to the next question. Question number 422. A staff welfare officer is required to maintain partiality because it enhances employee trust and organizational credibility. Move on to the next question. Question number 423. Under the labor jurisprudence, natural justice primarily requires. So here the correct answer is notice and opportunity of hearing. Move on to the next question. Question number 424. Which welfare measure is mostly directly connected with prevention rather than compensation? So here the correct answer is safety training. Move on to the next question. Question number 425. The primary objective of a modern staff welfare officer is balancing employee welfare with organizational productivity and industrial harmony. So move on to the next question. Question number 426. Under the Industrial Relation Code 2020, the primary objective of a grievance redressal committee is to. So the correct answer is resolve dispute arising out of individual grievances. Move on to the next question. Question number 427. A factory introduced biometric attendance to improve discipline. A trade union objects that alleging violation of privacy. Before implementation, the welfare officer should primarily. So here the correct answer is primarily facilitate the consultation and ensure compliances with applicable law and organizational policy. Move on to the next question. Question number 428. Which of the following principle is most closely associated with equal pay and equal work? So here the correct answer is social justice. Move on to the next question. Question number 429. Under the Code on Wages 2019, the purpose of prescribing a floor wage is to provide a benchmark below which minimum wages ordinarily should not be fixed. So move on to the next question. Question number 430. During collective bargaining, both parties voluntarily agrees to appoint an independent third person whose decision will be binding. This process is known as arbitration. Move on to the next question. Question number 431. Which authority administers the employees' state insurance scheme under the Code on Social Security? So here the correct answer is Employee State Insurance Corporation, that is ESIC. Move on to the next question. Question number 432. A welfare officer notices frequent minor accident in one department. Which action is most preventive? So here the correct answer is conduct a safety audit and refresher training. Move on to the next question. Question number 433. Which constitutional provision directs the state to secure a living wage and decent standard of life for workers? So here the correct answer is Article 43. So move on to the next question. Question number 434. Which of the following is not generally regarded as monetary incentive. So here the correct answer is Employee Recognition Award. Move on to the next question. Question number 435. An employee refuses to wear personal protective equipment despite repeated warnings. The welfare officer should first. So here the welfare officer first provide a counseling and reinforce safety compliances before recommending disciplinary action. So move on to the next question. Question number 436. Which labor code primarily governs the legal framework relating to trade unions? So here the correct answer is Industrial Relation Code 2020. So move on to the next question. Question number 437. Under the RTI Act, which of the following authority is empowered to impose penalties on public information officer in appropriate cases? So here the correct answer is Center or State Information Commission. Move on to the next question. Question number 438. Which leadership style is considered most suitable for encouraging innovating among the employees? So here the correct answer is transformational leadership. Move on to the next question. Question number 439. A welfare officer receives anonymous complaints alleging workplace discrimination. What is the most appropriate response? So here the correct answer is conduct a preliminary facts-based assessment before deciding further action. Move on to the next question. Question number 440. Which principle of natural justice means no one shall be judged in his own cause? So here the correct answer is Nemo Judex Causa Sua. Move on to the next question. Question number 441. Which of the following best describes organizational commitment? So here the correct answer is option number A, that is emotional attachment and loyalty towards organization. Move on to the next question. Under the Code on Social Security 2020, maternity benefits are intended primarily to. The correct answer is to protect health and employment security for eligible women employees. So move on to the next question. Question number 443. Which committee is an industrial establishment primarily promotes worker management cooperation? So here the correct answer is Works Committee. Move on to the next question. Question number 444. Which of the following is the best indicator of successful employee counseling? So here the correct answer is improvement in behavior and work performance. Move on to the next question. Question number 445. Which of the following is an example of upward communication? So here the correct answer is employee submitting a grievance to management. So move on to the next question. Question number 446. A welfare officer propose periodic stress management workshops. The primary object is to improve employee well-being and productivity. Move on to the next question. Question number 446. Which of the following is generally regarded as the first step in effective conflict resolution? So the correct answer is identifying the actual cause of conflict. Move on to the next question. Question number 448. Which provision of the Constitution reflects the principle of workers' participation in management? So here the correct answer is Article 43A. Move on to the next question. Question number 449. Under the Code on Wages 2019, which authority is empowered to hear and decide claims arising under the code? So here the correct answer is competent authority appointed under the code. Move on to the very last question of this video, part 9. Question number 450. A modern staff welfare officer is expected to function primarily as a facilitator of employee welfare, legal compliances and harmonious industrial relations. So with this we have completed 9 parts, and within another 1 part we will going to conclude the 500 MCQ series for RRB SWA exam. Best of luck those who are appearing for the exam. And if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe to our channel LawLust. And if you have any suggestion, then do comment down below. Thank you for watching.